This is Countryside News Channel, your official online and cable news channel, giving you the latest information from the province of Lanao del Norte. Countryside News Channel. CS News Channel. News Flash.
First on the list is the Honorable Khalid Maporo. Sir Khalid, please.
Thank you. Sir, I just have one question and one comment.
Pakisabi lang kung kanino naka-address para mabilis tayo.
I guess to the AFP, no? One of the biggest performances or outcomes of the martial law in Mindanao is the confiscation of loose firearms. And we're very thankful for that, especially in the province of Lanao del Norte. But the other reason that we are giving the military martial law is for the suspension of writ of habeas corpus. Now we see the performance record or the performance report of what the total gun ban in Mindanao has given to us. How many loose firearms have been confiscated? I'd like to ask the AFP, what is your performance report in terms of utilizing the suspension of writ of habeas corpus? How much terrorists have you captured? How have you used the writ of habeas corpus? Because we want to make it clear that we are not pushing martial law just for the sake of approving martial law. Na the military is really using this grant from the House of Representatives in the ground in the region of Mindanao. That's my first question, Mr. Chair. And I just want to make a final comment, if I'm allowed.
General President, please.
Thank you, sir, for the question. Actually, based on my briefing just a while ago, we have arrested 143.
143.
But there are still remaining out of the arrest order that was issued by the Department of National Defense. There are still 181 that need to be arrested for this terrorist group that the DND have issued.
May I ask if that's confidential information, Mr. Chair?
We have already.
If we can get the list, we'd like to support the clamor of the military to extend martial law. So we want to show your performance and what you have accomplished for the region of Mindanao. Is that a confidential list? Can we get the list of those so-called terrorists, 143 terrorists that have been arrested, and the status?
Yes, sir. We will provide you
Sige,
with the list. Sir.
Can I make a closing statement, Mr. Chair? 1 minute.
1 minute.
One
Okay.
minute.
Sige, 1 minute.
Just again, in regards to the campaign for loose firearms, we're thankful for it. But in the province of Lanao del Norte and our region, I feel that there's a double standard. And I will bring this up when we discuss martial law in the plenary. There should not be a double standard when it comes to the MILF. As the government, the civilians, we surrendered our firearms. It's part of your accomplishment report. Pero yung mga MI naman, lumalabas na sila sa lugar nila and they're bringing their high-powered firearms in their area. I would like to appeal to our armed forces of the Philippines that there should not be a double standard just for the sake of the primacy of the peace process. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Kung Khalid, recognize.
This is addressed to Secretary Del Rosario regards to Marawi. It's really just an understanding or maybe a misbelief or something like that. One of the reasons why the people cannot go home to the MAA, I think the 24 barangays, is because of martial law. So I would like to ask Secretary Del Rosario, what is the legal standpoint of the national government? Because of course we want to defend our president and his actions, that they are not allowing residents from Marawi to go back to the most affected areas. And it's very difficult to swallow and to believe that the reason after more than 1 year is you're still searching for IEDs. That's my first question, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, Your Honors, actually, the most affected area is not forbidden for the residents to go back because there are no facilities to speak of, and it's 95% destroyed. So that's the main reason. We have to undertake the clearing of explosives and clear all the destroyed buildings. In our estimates, about 8 million tons of debris. And debris clearing had started last month, and it will be completed in 8 months' time. So by August of next year, it will be completed.
Mr. Chair, I need to follow up. Kasi yung mga tao, they experience it or they believe na if they venture home, if you're saying na this is open, the most affected areas are open for the residents to come home, to go home, there are reports that they're being stopped by the military. So it's naturally that they're not allowed to enter. So what I'm asking for is the legal justification for that. Because ang understanding, the common understanding is we're under martial law. The military will decide on what we can or what we cannot do. These are concerns of mine because it can be misinterpreted by outsiders that the Duterte administration is abusing martial law. So I hope this can be clarified. That's what I'm trying to do, Mr. Chair. What is the legal justification? You will be preventing residents from entering the MAA. Or are you saying na we can put that on record in the plenary tomorrow that it's open. Anybody can go in. The military will not stop any civilian from entering the most affected areas in Marawi City.
Mr. Chairman, Your Honors, definitely it's not tied to martial law. We are not allowing them for safety considerations because there are still explosives and it's not habitable. Why will they go back there if there is no water, there is no power, and no buildings or houses to speak of? It's all destroyed.
Mr. Chair, sorry, I want to cut the discussion short. I'm asking for a specific answer. What is the legal justification, Mr. Chair? Kasi if you don't have a legal justification, this is what will be discussed in the plenary tomorrow. I am hoping I can be addressed today. What is the legal justification? Because kawawa yung mga tao, and I'm hearing it in Lanao del Norte, that's in Lanao del Sur. They're trying to go home, the military will stop them, they ask why, hindi kayo pwede bubalik because my orders. And then in the common people's minds, hindi pwede kami bumalik dahil martial law na yun. Secretary Anyo, I mean, we don't want people to think that we're abusing martial law and preventing people from going to their own homes, their own private areas. If you're going to say that you're not allowed to go into the area because of safety reasons, then ideally there should be some legal justification for that. I don't know. Maybe something from the mayor. You pass a ordinance forbidding people from entering the area. It cannot be just simply out of a whim. Bawal kayo pumasok because Task Force Barangay Marawi says that you cannot. Mr. Chair, can I get an answer? Or maybe we can, if it's difficult for Secretary Del Rosario to answer, I think walang legal justification.
Okay, of course, the primordial consideration is public safety. And it is inherent in the building code. You cannot live or stay in any building if there is safety consideration or there is hazard.
Okay, so
I think it's inherent on the part of the state to impose that sanction because why would you allow thousands of civilians to place themselves at a very great risk? And secondly, what I have stated earlier, there is no house or building to speak of because they are all destroyed. It's not habitable. Walang tubig, walang kuryente, walang building to speak of, all rubbles.
okay, so there's no legal justification. That's my understanding. It's just
It's the building code, Your
Yeah.
Honor. The
building code. That's the reason why our armed forces of the Philippines, our military, is preventing residents from entering the most affected areas. Okay. I hope
you.
that will satisfy you.
Thank you, Secretary. Next, Honorable Dimaporo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is in regards to the peace process or the Bangsa Moro Organic Law. I'd like to address this to maybe Secretary Esperon or anybody else that may be knowledgeable. A lot of people think once the BBOL is passed, we already have peace in Mindanao. They do not understand that there is a process to the demobilization of the MILF. 30% of their forces will demobilize after the plebiscite. 30% will demobilize after the first election. The remaining forces will be demobilized on the year 2024 when the Bangsamoro territory has been finalized. And that's the next plebiscite after 5 years. So, Amor, tinanggal na namin yan? Okay, so upon the next election, wala na. Supposedly, they're all fully demobilized. So we have at least until 2022. What will happen to these combatants, MILF combatants? We do not know if they will really surrender and join mainstream government, kasi parang it's voluntary. Or they will continue the fight under another flag, maybe BIFF or so forth. No? So the threat still is there. That's why, personally for us in Lanao del Norte, we are supporting martial law. Secondly, and this is my concern, Mr. Chair, I would like to get a direct answer because our problem with the MILF, unlike the NPAs, we have a ceasefire agreement. They have established camps where our AFP and PNP cannot enter. And we are getting information that this is where, for example, RPGs are being made. Some 50 caliber rifles are being made. We don't know. No? But these are the reports that are coming down to our province. How soon, under our peace process, can our military be no longer excluded or prohibited from freely entering these MILF camps? This is one part that I forgot to ask OPAP. At what point of the peace process? Dahil we pass na the Bangsamoro Organic Law, dapat walang may transparency na tayo. If our brigades want to enter MILF camps, we go inside the MILF camps. Di ba? Unless we have to wait until 2022 or 2025. To me, that justifies the need for martial law until those years. So I'd like that answer. When can we enter those MILF camps?
I have been, good afternoon, ma'am, the Speaker of the House. I've been talking to Yusek Nabil Tan, pending the formal assumption of General Galvez. They have already prepared the plan for this. Understandably, there will be more refinements. This is actually the DDR part of the peace process. We have to demobilize and decommission the forces of the MILF. This will be worked out. We are conscious of that. We hope you give the trust to the armed forces and the police to be on top of the situation. And we also believe that the MILF indeed are sincere in their participation in the peace process. So we hope we get your support on that. Otherwise, if we continue to simply bring out that possibility, then we might get it without really trying. We are deploying more forces there. We are not leaving the area. And we assure you that they cannot really come out and bring depredation, some harmful acts to the people.
I have to follow up because the devil is in the details. And
Yes, yes.
And second, my question was not really answered. But Secretary Esperon, I hope you can at least. 100%. I trust you. I trust our government. I trust our armed forces. The devil is in the details. The MILF says they have 80,000 combatants in the Lanao region. You talk to our AFP, their estimate is only 8,000. When we were about to break ground for the Pangal Bay Bridge, on my right-hand side was West Mincon. Across him was Secretary Lorenzana. And I overheard their discussion. Sec Lorenzana, DND. Yung mga MI, ang sinasabi nila, what they will demobilize are only the firearms that has been released to their combatants, not the privately owned firearms. We all know one of the requirements for you to join the MILF or any rebel movement is that you have a firearm, a long rifle. So these are the details that need to be identified.
We believe that.
So I need to bring it up to you because if you will not work on those details, baka in the end, we will have been fooled by the MILF. Kami, under your time, under your watch, We were fooled by the MILF with MOA AD. In our area, they were just saying training lang sila. But then they used it as a staging point to attack our province. So I hope you can understand my lack of trust on those guys. So I hope you will help us, Secretary Esperon. I'll just leave it at that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
This is Countryside News Channel, your official online and cable news channel, giving you the latest information from the province of Lanao del Norte, Countryside News Channel.